What's up, guys? How we doing today? My name is Bashar Katu. Welcome to my page. I am 27 years old. I currently live in San Diego, California. Moved down to the country about 10 years ago from Iraq. I first lived in Detroit for about a year, and then moved to California in 2007. I started my first business, or owned my first business at the age of 19. Ever since then, I've owned and operated 7 businesses. You know, coming to the United States was probably the best decision me and my family made in our lives. Back home, my family actually lived a very good life up until the war in 2003. Then things kind of just went downhill from there. The things that I've witnessed, the things that I've experienced in my life back home were very terrible, and I don't wish none of you experience them. You know, we just couldn't exactly plan, or we couldn't exactly know if we are going to live the next day or not. You know, our lives were pretty much in our hands every day. You know, and the decision wasn't to us whether we're going to wake up the next morning or something will happen to us in the middle of the night. Whether, you know, if it's something falling on our house, or you know, getting robbed or killed, or whatever the case may be. So in 2006, my family decided to flee Iraq and move out to the United States. You know, a little bit of a background about myself. Ever since I was a little boy, I've always had faith, and I had a dream that when I become older, is that I am, you know, destined to become something more than just another, you know, person on this planet that's going to probably go to college, get a career, you know, have maybe a 9-to-5 job, or you know, have a business of some sort that'll, you know, be able to make ends meet. Which there's nothing wrong with that, of course. You know, I started like that. I know many of you are like that right now, and there's nothing like that at all. Many of my close family and friends are like that right now. But you know, I always wanted a lot more for myself. Even when I dreamed and I talked about my dreams and talked about my ideas and thoughts to my family and friends, many of them laughed at me and thought that I was a little bit too crazy. You know, back then I was young. And you know, they thought a lot of it had to do with that. Maybe I just watched too many movies or whatever. But you know, coming to the United States actually gave me the opportunity to even dream bigger, to even, you know, to plan and actually have the knowledge and have the ability to plan ahead and know that I actually can achieve those goals if I truly want to. And if I truly put in the effort and the time and invest everything I can to achieve those goals. And you know, in this beautiful country of the United States, you know, those opportunities do exist, and it's all about who actually has what it takes to achieve them and to follow them, and not give up until they are all obtained and achieved. So you know, once again, you know, as I said earlier, moving to the United States was probably the best decision me and my family ever made. Now, as I grew up, you know, started my first business with my brother. Started my second business actually a few years later. You know, reality hit. I thought I knew it all. I was very, you know, young. I thought I knew or had what it took to run a business all on my own, and that's when reality hit. And I have been in very terrible you know, situations where I was in a position I just couldn't get out of. You know, I was in debt. You know, I had ends to meet that could not be met. I had invested a lot of my family savings, and there was no way that I could pay it back. It was just a very terrible timing, and that did not last for a week or two or a month or two. That lasted for a few years. And you know, that's when kind of my dreams and my goals kind of just dissolved, and they all became nothing but crazy thoughts. And every time I looked back and I thought about it and thought of the fire that I had in me and thought of the energy that I had, it saddened me a lot. And I would, a lot of times I would cry because it was just very sad seeing all those dreams just kind of dissolve and evaporate, and not even, because of where I'm at right now or back then, and just having the idea in my mind that I'm probably never going to be able to achieve those, and those were nothing but dreams. And I was nothing but a dreamer, but becoming a dreamer is all great, but if you can't make those dreams reality, they're just dreams. It's no different than you just, being asleep and actually dreaming. Now, I started, digging further and finding out more things and learning more, and I never gave up. True, there was a time where I probably almost gave up on life, but it would be a temporary state. I knew in the back of my head that something one day will happen and it will make things change. I'm not a golden boy. I wasn't born with a golden spoon in my mouth. I wasn't born from a rich family. My family was wealthy before I was born, and the first few years as I was a little child. But as I grew up and became a teenager, we were struggling, and especially having to move your home from a country where you're born and raised to a new country. You don't know the language, you don't know the people, you don't know the culture, you know nothing about it. Was just very difficult. And me being a 16-year-old was very difficult for me, and I actually created a very I was very depressed. Having to leave my friends who I grew up with, having to leave my family, having to leave my cousins, and just kind of everybody that I knew. It was very difficult times. So just going back to when I found myself in a situation that I couldn't get out of. One thing that I know until this day, and one thing that I've always kept in mind, is I kept a positive attitude. I kept a positive mentality, a mentality that whatever I am in right now is nothing but a temporary state. And one thing that I learned in life with experience is that nothing comes easy in life. You must fail many times to succeed once. And once you succeed, it's that taste of accomplishment, is that taste of success that it's a lot more worthy when you actually succeed after failing, and then you actually think and approach your success in a very different way. You actually appreciate the success, you appreciate the people around you, appreciate what got you to this point, you appreciate what contributed in your success. And it's very self-fulfilling, to be honest with you. I spent about 4 years digging myself out of a hole that I had dug very deep, because I approached a business with no plan, with no background, with no experience, with nothing. And that's one thing that I do now is, before everything starts with an idea. It starts actually with a dream, and then the dream becomes an idea. And then from there, you have to create research. You have to research very thoroughly. You have to create a plan, and then you execute. Execution is one of the last things you have to go into. You have to first have an idea, a dream, then an idea, then create a plan. And the plan has to be an execution plan, and there has to be a process plan and an exit plan in case if things don't work out. In this life, it does not matter how much research you do, how much investment, how much anything you do. At the end of the day, things may not work out, because anything you try new, at least for the first time, or even if it's been done before you, just because you're doing it yourself for the first time, there's always a 50-50 chance for it failing. So you always have to have an exit plan in case if things don't work out. What am I going to do? if you're starting a new business, you have to have an exit plan. Okay, well, I'm going to give it 6 months or 1 year, and if it doesn't work out, then I will liquidate the business, or I will have to walk out and then cut my losses. You always have to cut your losses. You cannot stay invested. Any business you go into, you cannot be emotionally invested. You have to understand this is a business, and it's always good to work on your business, not in your business, because when you work in your business, you pass on all the things that are happening around you. You don't know what's going on around you. You always have to be working on your business, and I learned that very difficultly, and it took me a while, and it was a very expensive lesson for me because I operated a business for 4 years, which at the end of the day, it did succeed somewhat, not where I really wanted it to be, but it did okay. Just the whole experience going up to where I ended up with it, was very, I gained a lot of knowledge from it. There is a link that I will actually have in the link in the little comments below, by Arnold. He says, a day has 24 hours. You need to sleep only 6. Okay, and he makes a joke out of it. He says if you need to sleep more, you need to sleep faster. You only sleep 6 hours. After that, you have 18 hours left. You have to make sure that you maximize every single hour of those 18 hours. You need to make sure that you gain wealth, you gain knowledge, you gain experience, And when he says wealth, he doesn't mean just money, It's knowledge, it's experience, it's learning something new. Even if it's going to the gym for an hour, even if it's, meeting somebody new, learning something new, watching a new YouTube video or whatever it is. When I was younger, I always wanted to be busy. I always wanted to be on the run, always wanted to be on the road. I like to have many phone calls, people calling me left and right, visiting places and things like that. And as I grew up older, I started calming down a little bit more. And this is where it brought me to YouTube, and where it brought me to online businesses. So I don't want to make this any longer. This was just a little bit of a background about me. Do feel free to leave me any comments. In this channel, you will be getting a lot of information, a lot of my personal experience. I'll be also featuring many quotes of famous people. I'll also be including many videos of just different things, different motivational things. And most importantly, this channel is going to be for my online courses. So I am in the process of producing many online courses that that have gained me and can gain you, many thousands of dollars, several thousands of dollars a month. I went from making $2,000 to $20,000 a month using these strategies, and I will share all these with you. I will update them as I go. I will try to have new videos at least once a day or once every other day. If there's anything that you'd like me to feature, please leave it in the comments below. Also, my Facebook page and my email address will be attached. So feel free to send any questions you have, or any comments or any suggestions. Also, I take critics very well. So feel free to criticize me as much as you want. Thank you very much for watching my video. If you already haven't, please subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to having a great journey with you guys. Thank you very much.